panic disorder, rage, severe depression. On top of all that, I'm stressing. Took a blind date to my therapy session and then tried to kill her. Her first impression was I'm groovy, I need a lumbotomy. But when I press play, trouble leaves up out of me. Fuck the real world and my fat ass stuck in. Cause in my music, hotties are fucking expression. Getting out all I wrote, depression, ripping out all your throat. And if my hearing was ever to go, mass murder would be inevitable.
Welcome to another episode of Maniacal Music Musings. I am your host, as always, Jeremy, and usually this is the point where I do a nice, funny intro. But that's not going to happen this week because we're here on a little bit more of a serious topic this week. I mean, we're still going to have fun, of course, but it's a little bit more of a serious topic and got to take things a little seriously this week. So our topic this week is, of course, albums that heal, which I've always wanted to do this episode, but I just never knew I wanted to do it until I had our guest suggest it, and I was like, yes, that would be an amazing episode. I need to do that. And here we are. And I cannot wait to get this episode started. So you all, of course, know my gray-bearded, gray-haired man of honor side host, Mr. Chancy Greif.
Hi.
And, of course, as on this show we always do, we are joined by a guest, and our guest is Diana Winkler, who is a singer, songwriter, and a podcast host of her own. The name of her podcast is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it at the moment.
The Wounds of the Faithful.
Yes, The Wounds of the Faithful. It was on the tip of my tongue. I just couldn't think of it. But we are pleased to have you here, Diana, because we up to this point, pretty much have been podcasting with people we've known for some amount of time. So it's nice to have guests that are brand new to us, and we get to put our music on them, which is always a fun thing. I don't know how fun it is for them always, but it's always fun for us. But we'll find out how fun it is. But first things first, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks to you, Jeremy and Chancy, for having me on the show and inviting me to the party and getting a chance to talk about music.
Yep, and that's why we do it, because even after the worst days, music can make us feel better. Music makes us feel like it can bring a range of emotions. It can make us feel angrier even if we want it to, which sometimes you want that. But what we're talking about tonight are albums that heal, which we all love albums that heal. And they're a good thing, because if you have a bad day, if your significant other breaks up with you, if you get fired from your job, you need something to help you heal and get through it. So, or any other horrible thing that may happen to you in this world, you need something to help you get through it. And music can do that 1,000 times over.
Absolutely.
But first things first, on this show, we always start with our guest albums because we're nice people. So, what album did you choose that helps you heal? And normally I ask, why did you bring it to the show? But obviously I know why you brought it to the show, but how does it help you heal?
Well, I brought to this show War on My Mind by Beth Hart. She's a blues singer.
I'm not your wife. I'm not the one who'll make it right. The good girls always lose. I got the bad woman blues. I got the bad woman, bad woman blues. I got the bad woman blues. I got the bad woman, bad woman blues.
Well, actually, she does a few different genres really, really well, but she's primarily a blues singer. And since I'm a singer-songwriter, I was in the process of writing songs about healing for abuse survivors. And I got introduced to blues by my husband, Brian. We were out actually raking rock in the garden, trying to do all this yard work. And we had Joe Bonamassa on in the background, who's, of course, another blues musician. And he always plays similar artists on his channel. And so Beth Hart came on with Damn Your Eyes. And all I was like, who is that? And I asked Brian, who's that singing on that song? And oh, that's Beth Hart. Oh, I've never heard of her. So I started listening to the rest of her stuff, and I was like, wow, she just blew me away with probably number one, her rawness. Because if you've listened to her stuff, and she's had a really, really rough life. Um, she's dealt with mental illness. She's been in and out of the mental hospital. She had suffered a traumatic incident when she was a child. Her house was robbed, and she went to private school, and they didn't know anything about mental illness back then, and they didn't really have any treatment. But anyway, she'd been through all this stuff, and she's very transparent about that in her live shows. And so when I hear her music, it is so incredibly raw. Like, she holds nothing back from her audience. I mean, she just talks about the nastiest stuff about mental illness and abuse and suffering. And I never heard anybody sing that way. Because as a songwriter myself, and I wanted to write music to help people heal, and I wanted to tell my story in my songs, but I was afraid. I was afraid to, be blunt and raw and transparent with my songs, because I thought somebody would be offended by it or they wouldn't like it. So when I listened to her stuff, they gave me permission to go and write my music that way. Now, I wouldn't copy her, obviously, but it gave me permission to write that kind of music as well and share my personal experiences without being afraid. And she's so incredibly talented. Wow, she can play the piano, she can write, she's got an incredible voice. Now, I've seen her live on TV a few times. I never got to go see her in person, but she tells her stories on stage about, her husband and her manager and how she was going to give up. She's going to give up her gift of music because she didn't think she was worthy, which I find that fascinating. Like, she is so talented. Nobody has the sound that she has. She's got this tremolo. That's kind of her signature thing. My husband doesn't really like that part as much, but I think it's great. She can be, gentle, and she does ballads really well, and then she goes right into the screaming raw stuff, and then she goes into some sexy songs, and she's up there shaking her booty, and then we want to shake our booties too, and anyhow, so that's why I brought it. It really has helped me in my own music.
Well, before I get to why I think of it, Chancy, what is your review of it? Yes, you, sir.
Well, in a way, actually, it kind of reminded me of her name eludes me at the moment, but she was the lead singer of the band the Alabama Shakes. The sound of her voice matches a lot with the Beth Hart's. Hers is a bit more like blues, like guitar blues oriented, not jazz, like piano blues and stuff like that. I enjoyed the album. I can't.
Brittany Howard.
It's not.
That's her name.
Brittany Howard. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
But I enjoyed listening to the album, and I even enjoyed the words on the songs. Whereas with Jeremy's, I just enjoyed the music.
some of it.
Cool.
But
The
Well,
words, the songwriting is incredible. It's the word pictures that she comes up with are
yes. And does that conclude your review, Chancy? Well, I have never heard of Beth Hart either. I mean, when you first sent me the CD, and I was like, I always preview the CD when my guest sends it to me, and I'm like trying to find something that matches it. And I just was like clicking through the songs. I'm like, I mean, the couple I heard right away, I was like, ooh, what is this rhythm right here? But I mean, I didn't really get to experience it until first thing this morning. It was actually the first CD I listened to today as I was on a 4-hour drive up to Maine for a couple days. So it was definitely a good, like, I didn't know what to expect. And with new CDs and new artists, I always just try to be open as possible when I turn them on, because the old me 10, 15 years ago would just immediately heard the first song and been like, nope. But as a grown adult now, I kind of learn to appreciate things a little more. And as I was listening to the album today, I was just like, wow, I can relate to a lot of this. It's just mind blowing. And she is such a good piano player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's beyond belief, like how good she is at playing piano. So, I mean, I can't even think of anyone to compare her to at that point for that part. I mean, I don't want to go classical, but she blows most people out of the way. But
yeah, she's had some classical training, so it shows.
And I mean, I was impressed. I was very impressed, and I can't wait to get to my top 5. But we always let our guests do their top 5 first, and since your CD, you definitely get to go first to your top 5.
Oh man, it was so hard to pick an album from her because I kind of rotate between 4 or 5 of them. With the War in My Mind, I had more songs on here that I really loved than the other album was live in, was it Albert Hall? Royal Albert Hall, which is a fantastic live album. But so this one is top 5. War in My Mind. Her lyrics, it's like, this is more than I can handle. Give me something to fill that hole. And then she goes, I threw blood on the wall. I don't want to know what kind of blood you threw on the wall, but I never would have thought anybody would have the guts to even put something like that on an album. The second one was Dear Sister. I cry on this one all the time. Just the tenderness behind. I think this is one of the nuns at her Catholic school that she was talking about. I was so hard on you. Will you ever forgive me? Because she says she put this nun through hell. She was a terror. And let's see, 3, I would say I Need a Hero. Again, this one's a ballad. I'm so thirsty, but I won't drink the water. And that is really common with people that have gone through major trauma, is I can't help myself. I need somebody to help me. And then she talks about the demons screaming back at her. We talked about the abyss looking back at us, right? 4 is Thankful. And at first, when I heard the song, I thought, oh, this is kind of trite. But she just, named all the little things, which when you're trying to heal and you've been traumatized, those little things in life make a difference. And so I enjoy that song now. I'm totally obsessed with Rub Me for Luck. I love the guitar in there and the instrumentation. I love that pause right before the chorus. So I'm super, super obsessed with it. Such poetic lyrics there, the word picture. So that's my top 5, but it's so hard to pick any favorites.
Yeah, we come across that a lot with a lot of our own albums on this one, because it's just we pull the Jeremy, as we call it many times, where you say, I choose the whole album, but I'm gonna go through every song and talk about it. But I mean, we've done that plenty of times. But Chancy, what were your top 5 for Diana's album?
I actually did have an honorable mention.
Me as well, but go ahead.
Ironically enough, it was "Rub Me for Luck."
Hmm.
I play guitar.
Rematch.
I play guitar.
Rematch.
I play a little. Like I haven't played guitar in a long time, but when I did, I always enjoy a good guitar riff. Number 5 was "I Need a Hero."
Match.
Number 4 was "Try a Little Harder."
Oh.
Number 3 was "Without Words in the Way."
A little jazzy number.
Yeah, I like those. I like the more jazzy, bluesy vibe from the song because, like, my number 2 is "Bad Woman Blues."
Oh yeah,
And-
that's a cool song.
Oh, yeah, I mean, for sure. And then number 1 was "War in My Mind."
Ooh.
Yep, we were matched there.
I am actually very happy because I got some of my list that neither of you mentioned, which makes me very happy. Because, of course, my honorable mention was "Rub Me for Luck." Because, if I did write a funny intro for this one, that would have been in there. Would have been in there. But sorry, Chancy. But
Yeah, if I
Number
were to
5.
cover any of her songs, I'd probably cover that one.
Plus, I mean, being a bigger guy, I always did the joke of, all right, you can rub my belly for luck, but gotta pull the whole Buddha thing on everybody. But number 5 was "Spanish Lullaby."
Yes.
Yeah,
Because
that's
actually,
alright, yeah.
it made me think of that pop song almost. I don't know who sings it, but like the whole like "Last Night I Dreamed of Fernando" and like she goes through the
Yeah,
song.
ABBA.
Like,
That's ABBA.
yeah, that's ABBA.
Yeah, Fernando.
Oh my God, I never knew that. That's wow.
I'm an ABBA fanatic, yeah.
Oh, I love ABBA. Don't get me wrong, I love ABBA, but I never knew that was them. Okay,
Yeah,
another song
very
they do I
similar
like.
flavor, yes.
I wanted to think it was what's her name? Selena, but I don't know. For some reason, I always thought it was her, but I don't
Or
know.
maybe she
Can't
did a
explain it,
cover.
but it's possible. I mean, it's 20 years difference. But number 4 was "I Need a Hero" because it made me think of the song "We Need a Hero." We actually did a cover band. I brought a cover band on this that does that song, and like this, her version, not her version, but her song that reminds me of it is amazing. Like we've all need heroes in our lives, and when I was thinking about that in the healing aspect, I was like, yeah, we all need heroes to help us get through things. So no matter who it is, it could be a dog for God's sakes, but if it helps us get through something, it helps us get through something.
Mm-hmm.
Which number 3 kind of ties into that same idea, and it's thankful. Because at the end of the day, if you want to heal, you have to think about what you're really thankful for, and that you have to think about the good, not the bad. And it's
That is
just,
so
and
true.
honestly, I think it's that song. I could be wrong, but the piano in that song reminded me of Serge Tankian, the lead singer of System of a Down, when he does his solo stuff. Like it reminded me of like his piano work.
I'm not
I could
familiar
almost
with
hear.
him, but
Oh, when he went solo and started doing it just under his name, Serge Tankian, like some of the stuff he puts out is very like open-minded and ecological and everything, like worldly. I brought one of his CDs on here about a month ago or so, or 2 months maybe. But that made me think of that. And number 2 was "Let It Grow," which I'm amazed nobody else had that on their
like I
list.
said, it's really hard to pick any favorites.
Yeah,
There aren't any bad songs on that album, but
there really wasn't. But I mean, I tend to go for the faster moving, like faster rhythm songs. Like the slow songs and any CDs, like rarely do it for me. Like I don't live my life that way. My life is constantly one thing to the next. So the faster rhythms just kind of go with my head and my soul. But "Let It Grow" was such a good song. Like her singing the chorus, like almost had me tearing up in the car. Like
right.
like it's such a good song. And of course, number 1 was the first track on the CD, Bad Woman Blues, because that as soon as that kicked off the album, I was like, oh, I am gonna like this. Like that's the first song I sampled, because I always sample the first non-intro song, Chancy. And
I love that. I'm not your mama. I'm not your wife.
no, the line in that song that really made me love it is born to drive man insane. Like,
yeah.
like I was like, oh, I'm like, my wife does that. Yes.
Good stuff.
I'm like, my wife does that perfectly. So yes, I can relate to that. But like it's her job. Like, that truly is a wife's job, is to make her husband do things, and sometimes you drive them insane and make them do things. So I mean, which I'm lazy, so she definitely has to do that. But so I mean, overall I thought it was a great CD. I enjoyed it immensely, more than some other CDs that have been on this podcast. But I enjoyed it. So I enjoyed it immensely, and I was happy I actually got to learn about somebody today. I mean, it kind of reminded me of who did Phoenix bring on? Was it Diana Krall, Chancy? I want to say it's Diana Krall, but I can't think of it. Actually,
I can't.
I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm pretty sure I'm right.
How long ago was it?
It was the episode released last. No, it's not. Okay, that's not. I got the. Oh, it is her. Yeah. Yeah. Her name's Diana Krall. That's who it is. Okay, I was right. I googled it, Chancy. I'm right. But
Okay.
But yeah, he brought on looking to my eyes. He brought on that CD. It's and that's kind of what it reminded me of in a way. But Beth is more of like a lot of her songs aren't not all her songs are jazzy like Diana's, and she's faster tempo, which I like. So I definitely enjoyed the CD. But Chancy, why don't we do your CD next? Though I have to warn you, Diana didn't realize I sent 2 links. She thought I only sent 1 long one. So
Sorry, Chancy.
she didn't get a chance to listen to your CD.
But I will definitely
Oh,
will listen to it this week. But I want to hear what your guys' pander about your songs.
Well, in that case, let's have mine go last then, because I was actually gonna pull a Jeremy, and
Okay, then we'll go last. Then you'll go last.
I mean it makes sense, especially if I was
Alright.
gonna pull a Jeremy, because it
I mean,
literally was like it couldn't have worked out more perfectly. How Jeremy's like, yeah, we're gonna have a theme. It's gonna be albums for healing, and then immediately I had no thought. Just I knew exactly which album I was picking. But yeah, let's have some humor on this, because I want to talk about Jeremy's album. I love Jeremy. I love Jeremy's album. Jeremy, tell us about your album, big guy. Which one did you bring? Which another one of these did you bring? I should say. It's like when a cat brings you a dead bird.
listen, Chance-a-Lot. Wait till we get to your CD, buddy. Wait till we get to your CD. That's all I'm saying. But
I'm content. I know she'll like it when she listens to it. So,
well,
I'm a good judge of character. I'm listening.
The CD I brought was, of course, when I think of CDs that heal, and I actually had a hard time picking one because there are so many I could have brought, but I'm just like, I'm not gonna do that to her. I'm not gonna do that to her. I'm not gonna do that to her as I'm going through my hardcore CDs, but I'm like, I can't do that to her. I mean, no, I'm not gonna bring hardcore albums about killing people to this, because that's not really healing. Even if it helps me heal, I'm weird. So that's why it helps me heal. But then I'm like, you know what? Nightwish heals me always. And I'm like, but what CD haven't I brought that heals? And I was like, ooh, this is actually the perfect moment to finally bring this 4th CD of Nightwish I brought on this show before, and sang the new record for the band brought the most to this show. But Esham's not far behind, so maybe we'll do him again soon. But Chance is like, oh, God damn you. But I will say that Nightwish's Once is one of my favorite CDs they've done. yeah, it's the CD, one of the first CDs of theirs I heard, and it's just such an incredible CD. It was with the original singer, and it's kind of I think why she left the band because it went from her operatic work to her becoming a more of a rock singer, and I don't think she liked that. But I love the CD. It's helped me through so many bad breakups in my life, so many bad moments in my life. It's just always helped me through. Especially one song in particular, or actually well, two songs in particular, but I'll get to that in my top five. But it's just this whole CD has been amazing, and Nightwish is always good, but this is one of my favorite CDs by them, 100%. And I like it some more than even more than some of the CDs I brought on this show before, even. But as our guest Diana, what did you think of it? I'm dying to know.
Oh, I am so thankful that you introduced me to this band. I so enjoyed Nightwish, and I will say I'm a huge prog musician. I'm a prog head, as they call it.
Nice.
And I was like,
Nice.
they definitely got some proggy stuff to them. They've got the 10-minute songs. They've got the operatic. They have the really neat contrary melodies and different instruments and all that stuff. I so thoroughly enjoyed this album and added it to my my Spotify playlist. Um, you want my top five now, or?
We'll let Chancy give his burn/review of it first.
Okay.
I definitely loved the ones I picked. I got an honorable mention in top five. I loved all of the music that I heard, like all of it. It was like whether it was something about a guitar riff or just how it was played, the cadence. I thought it was great.
So much to say.
Yeah, he's holding back on the what part he wants to say, but
My mama told me if I don't got something nice to say, I won't say nothing at all.
What would you have not nice to say? You just being a
bring it,
gentleman.
Chancy. I'm a big boy, and you never hold back. So come on.
Well, I mean, I just, for me, a lot of it is I'm not an elitist, if you will, but to my opinion, the riffs that are used in, especially my top five, the vocals don't belong. It's not that I just, in my opinion, it feels like it doesn't belong. It feels like it belongs to another song or another singer or not necessarily another band, but like another vocalization.
Okay.
And it's not
that.
that she has a bad singing voice either, because she doesn't. She's she's got that operatic ability, which is that takes years to master anyway. And that's always been my problem when he brings Nightwish or stuff like Nightwish onto the show, is that I will find songs on the album that I love, but I wish I had like a mixing board where I could just take the vocals out and just listen to it as an instrumental and just.
I think there's software out there for that.
Oh, there is. Oh, there's sure. I'm sure there is. I hadn't.
And if you listen to it on Spotify, Chancy, there is all instrumentals. So, I mean.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, because I was trained in opera music, classically trained, and then later in life I transitioned to singing rock and blues and jazz, and so I can kind of relate to what you say about that part of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, Chancy, this is also when Tara, who we've had as a solo artist on the show before as well, this was her last CD with Nightwish. So,
Yeah.
and she didn't, after the CD, she didn't want to record with the band anymore because, I think it's mainly because they wanted to break through to be more power metalish to try to get onto the world scene more instead of just being a Finland, like amazing band in Finland that people the rest of the world haven't heard of. So,
Right.
which it worked for them because now they are known worldwide for the most part. I mean, even in the US, they have a huge following now, but it's just she wanted to stick to her more operatic music, which she did in the solo CD we brought on.
Shout out to Finland,
Right.
our number 3 highest country listened to, which I'm sure this is gonna facilitate a number 2 slot.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, 2023 wrap up. The 2023 wrap up is a long way off, so we'll see. But thank you.
Yeah, but I
for
mean,
that.
you got a lot of Nightwish and other stuff in that genre you keep throwing out. So
Because Europe does music better than America. I can't say it enough. Sorry, but they have since the 80s. So, but okay, late 80s. But still, when Freddie Mercury died, all the music went to Europe. Just saying. But yes, he's English. I know he's a British singer, but he was huge in America, and he inspired tons of other bands like him. But
I like, come on, man. You're like, when Freddie Mercury died, all the music went to Europe.
Oh.
The more things change, the more it stays the same, Jeremy. That's a whole other way of saying what you just said. What's your top 5? Or wait, it's yours. It's your CD. What's your top 5?
So I did have an honorable mention too. I could have pulled a Jeremy in the CD like all Nightwish CDs, but I can't with Nightwish. I have to honor the top 5. And my honorable mention was I Wish I Had an Angel, because that's one of the first songs I ever heard by Nightwish, and I love that song. It's what got me into them, but it's not top 5 material. There's 5 better songs in this album, and I Wish I Had an Angel is an amazing track though. Number 5 is The Siren. Yeah. Number 5 is The Siren, because The Siren, I've been tempted by many women who I shouldn't have been tempted by. And The Siren just makes me think of that always. It always tells me not to do that again. I mean, I'm married now, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. But it always told me not to do that again when I was single before I was married. But number 4 was Planet Nemo. I mean, what the hell did I write? Oh, Nemo. What the? Did I start copying? I don't know what happened there. I think I started combining too. But it's Nemo because I love that. Like, for the longest time, I thought Nemo was about like Captain Nemo, like 40,000 Leagues Under the Sea, until I actually looked into it and I realized that in Finnish, Nemo means nothing. So it's basically saying I am nothing, like in the song, and I can relate to that because I felt like that in the past. I felt like I'm nothing in the past. So Nemo is an amazing song, and I loved it. Like, it was just such a good. When I heard the CD for the first time, that's the song that really stuck out to me at first until I get to my number 1. And then number 3 is Creek Mary's Blood, because I love that they wrote a song about Native Americans. I love it. And that they actually, I mean, the Finnish have more respect for Native Americans than a lot of Americans do, and it's just sad. Like, that's the fact. And they wrote a song about it, and like the Native American music in the background, chanting, like, I love it. Like, it reminds me of kind of some Godsmack stuff, but not exactly the same way, which I almost brought a Godsmack CD on this show. I almost did for this episode. Like, I was going to bring Godsmack, I think it's VI, or whichever one it is, but I think it's VI, could be V, I forget what it's called, but that's what I was going to bring on this show. But number 2 was Romanticide, because I can relate to Romanticide so well with my history of relationships. Like, I performed Romanticide more times in my life than I can imagine, like destroying my wife through relationships, through romantic entanglement. So And yes, you can take it that way, or you can take it as you're the one killing romantic entanglement. So it goes both ways, kind of. It works, and I've done both, so it kind of fits. And of course, my number one for a long time until the most recent CDs they did, it was my favorite Nightwish song ever, and that is Ghost Love Score, because that is the most beautifully haunting song ever written by them, and it's just, oh, and I love it because it's like a movie soundtrack, but it's just amazing. And I mean, Chancy knows my love for Nightwish's longer songs, but I mean, Ghost Love Score is just the song that made me want to buy every Nightwish album ever when it came out, because they were amazing. I bought all their older albums because of that song. And just the line, "Time could never hold our love," like that right there is why I looked for a wife. When I was looking for a wife, that's why I always saw is, will our love be timeless? Will time always hold our love? And it's just, I found it eventually, and that song helped though. Like anytime I break up with a girl, I'd listen to that song and I'd be like, nope, nope. I'm like, time held our love, and it put a time on it, and it's over. So that's it. So that's why this album made me heal. It's a freaking amazing track, and it's an amazing CD. I freaking love this CD. It was the last CD I listened to today because I know it so well. I knew I didn't really need to listen to it multiple times, so I just listened to it the last like half hour, 40 minutes into Maine, and it was, I love it. I love it. I was blasting Ghost Love Score when I first was coming into this broadcast, so because I love that song so much. It's been so long since I heard it, but that's my top 5 though. Diana, as the guest,
Cool.
you get to give your top 5 next.
Okay, well, you took some of my answers, but I will say I'll start with number 5, which was Planet Hell. I love the driving beat of that song. It just kept me riveted on it. I thought that the male vocal was very Dream Theater-ish. Maybe I'm nuts, but and then it was contrasted with the smooth female voice, which I thought was kind of a neat mix. Chance, you might not agree with that, but
No, I thought that when you actually when you said Dream Theater, I actually smiled because well, you were talking, but I smiled because like, yeah, I could hear that. That
yeah,
makes sense.
I love Dream Theater. And Nemo is my number 4. I love the vocals on this too. I like the what we call the descants, and this guitar solo was like really awesome. Love the guitar solo. And I could hear some spiritual biblical allegory in there. I was looking at the lyrics, and it was pretty cool. I liked that a lot. Let's see. My number 3 was Higher Than Hope. The lyrics on this one were really super. Higher than hope, my cure lies, and describing drowning without inhaling. I'm like, wow, that is a word picture. And then the key change up was, I love that part. I like key changes. That's my thing. 2, I loved Ghost Love Score as well. And I thought immediately, like you said, this sounds like a movie soundtrack. I can picture, having this on a movie and a really exciting battle scene or something. I wonder if they've ever submitted their stuff for movie.
Well,
for
actually,
movies.
the last CD of theirs I brought on here when Phoenix was on, Imaginarium, that album actually they did a movie called Imaginarium 2, and they used a lot of the songs from that CD for the movie. So
Oh, okay, cool.
it's a movie that I had to find it on some site I never could find again, probably if I looked, but it's out there. It can be found. It's probably on YouTube now for all I know, but yeah.
So my number
Go ahead.
my number 1, I know I don't look it, but my mother's side is Cherokee, and we volunteer on the Lakota reservation. And when this song came on, I heard the flute. So that's a Native American flute. What's a Finnish band doing the Native American flute? And then I heard the words in Lakota because I know like 10 words in Lakota, and I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm looking up the lyrics on Google. Oh my gosh, they did a Lakota song, and I love the English translation. I'm like, I could totally see myself covering this song. If I was going to pick a song of this band, I would pick that one because my Lakota peeps would really love it. It reminded me a lot about, Kansas. They did a song about Native American too, about them taking away their land and stuff. Real similar flavor, but yeah, that was my number one song. The chant was cool. The high notes and even the repetitive bridge, it was just everything was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, the way that song starts slow and then builds faster and faster, it's just like, oh, such a good song. I love that song. And when I said Planet Nemo, yeah, Planet Hell and Nemo kind of got combined in my mind because I was making this list the last second because I'm like, it was like 8:50, and I'm like, oh crap, I never made the top 5 for my CD even though I know it. I never wrote it down. So I'm like trying to do it while smoking a cigarette outside. I'm like, oops, I accidentally combined the two.
Well,
But Planet Nemo sounds awesome. Chancy, what are your top 5, my good sir?
Well, technically, I did this last night, and I can't read my handwriting on one of them. But my honorable mention was "Wish I Had an Angel." That was pretty cool.
Sure.
My number 5 is, I think the first word is "dead." Anybody?
Is it dark?
No, it's not dark.
Is it Dark Chest of Wonders?
No. That's my number 1.
Oh, Dead Gardens. Yeah.
Dead. That's the one. Dead Gardens. That was fucking awesome. And
I love that song, yeah.
My number 4 was Romanticide. My number 3 was Creek Mary's Blood. My number 2 was The Siren. And number 1 was Dark Chest of Wonders.
That was a great opener. That song.
It was.
I was immediately drawn into like.
I was like, I think I'm actually gonna like this one. Like it's kind of hit or miss with this stuff with Jeremy every now and then. And I was like, I'm sitting in bed. I'm like, hey, this may not be too bad.
So where's it rank among the 4 Nightwish CDs you've heard so far, Chancy?
I'd say probably the top.
Really? Better than the circus one, which I thought you would love that.
Yeah, pandering to my nature doesn't always get on my best side, Jeremy. Just because I'm circus folk doesn't mean I like circus music. Reminds me.
Now I'm gonna have to go listen to that album now.
It's a little bit circus in parts of it, but it's only they use that as a theme for the album, but it's really not. But okay, no, Chancy, you know that's Insane Clown Posse. That's Insane Clown Posse. What you're doing right there?
No, that's actually like.
I know it is, but that's. You want me to bring circus music on here? I'll bring Insane Clown Posse some more for you. But
I mean, at least I know they're clowns and they're circus music, so that's my people too.
Well,
it's Indians and circus folk. All right, they are my people.
Well, Chancy, why don't you tell them what CD you brought?
I actually picked Incubus. This is the name of the band, and Make Yourself is the album.
Behind the
It's actually the first album of theirs that I had ever heard. It was my first exposure to them, actually. It was like shortly after I bought the album, they blew up from their
Dri-
like
from
popular
Drive.
songs like Drive and Pardon Me, yeah, right. Uh it was just like I had picked it up and was started listening to it just like maybe a couple weeks before it really hit the airwaves. And it it came out in '99, so I was young and I had a lot. I mean, I was I had friends and stuff, but I got bullied pretty bad,
Mm.
and there was a lot about this album that that resonated with me. Like, what is it? In the first song, "Privilege," it goes, "Isn't it strange that a privilege can feel like a chore?" You know. I was like, wow, huh, that's
Those
something,
are deep.
ain't that? But yeah, I
I don't
mean,
know
it
what it
was.
is. I don't know what it is. I can't. For some reason, the bands you pick half the time, I can't understand the lyrics. Like, I think that's the biggest issue.
What are you talking about? How do
Like,
you
I
not
don't know if
understand
it's
the lyrics to this album?
Just Google them.
I
I
mean,
mean,
there's like no there's no gutturals in this album, man. Like, I can tell you most of the lyrics for those songs that I like dug the most. Like in the very first song, the very first thing he says is, he goes, "Isn't it strange that a gift could be an enemy? Isn't it weird that a privilege could feel like a chore? Maybe it's me, but my mind isn't going anywhere. Maybe if we looked hard enough, we could find a back door." And then they do their little "find yourself a back door," and then I like the crescendo, patak, boom.
My mind just went such a bad place with that.
Bro, I mean, hey, take it where you like. It's your mind. I don't know. You wash it off when you're done. But no, I'll go. Otherwise I'll keep rambling on about the whole album. But since Jeremy, you were the only other person you like, I expect that you will probably enjoy it if you give it a listen,
Oh,
Diana, after the fact.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, I'm not even upset you didn't listen to it, just because of the fact that now I'm stoked because you're gonna like be on your own checking it out, and then
I got
it'll
a
be
45-minute car ride to work, so I got something
So,
to listen to
yeah.
tomorrow.
Oh, for sure. It's also the first song, like the first few songs, kind of are a bit of a pump you up. So yeah, you'll have a fun drive unless
I
things
don't
happen
even
on the
care
way
when people
there.
cut
Yeah.
me off. I mean,
Right?
well, Chancy,
How
when you
much?
said
How
that-
much did you hate it this time?
what, you guys
I
hate each other's albums?
No, not always.
No, not always. Not always. We sometimes we surprise each other, but I mean, and it's just it's Incubus. I know Incubus obviously by name, and I know like their radio hits and whatnot. I just they're basic '90s grunge rock to me. That's what they are. Like they're '90s, early 2000s grunge rock, and they're you put Bush and you put Incubus playing on stages together. I'm not going to tell them apart, but I mean,
Okay,
a little bit.
guess.
I mean, maybe a little bit if I really paid attention. But I mean,
I found that this album sounded so much different than their other ones, though. Like, this one was really like more gritty. Like, I think after this album is when they really kind of went with the blended melodic thing, because like this one's got a lot of chunky, clean guitar riffs too, like chick chick it, chick it, chick it. Like you get a lot of, and they I think they use the DJ a little bit more in this one than they do in their other one. Sorry, dude, I totally interrupted your review, bro. I'm sorry.
it's all good. But I mean, it's just Incubus to me is just never one of those bands I wanted to go find their other stuff because like I knew a couple songs off this CD. I know some of their other stuff. It's just, it's that 90s alternative rock I could never get into because it's just like, like my cousin was into it all the time when I was in Florida. I'd be listening to it constantly, and it's just, it to me just it doesn't faze me. I mean, 90s music to me is either heavy or it's European or maybe some pop stuff that I grew up with. I mean, I can turn off Ricky Martin Ricky Martin's 90 hits any day of the week, but it's the stuff you grow up with, and no one I really hung out with was into Incubus or any of those bands similar. So I never got into them. Like I was into rap at that age more than anything. So, and maybe some heavy metal because 99 Korn is freaking Unleashed, and yeah, but so
Yeah, man.
I mean, I didn't mind Incubus that much. It wasn't bad as Bush. I'll tell you that much at least. It wasn't as bad as Bush. I can say that. So, why don't you give your top 5 since it's your album search? Yes, about.
Oh, I pulled a Jeremy.
Well, you mean you rub me for good luck?
No, I mean like I had actually picked all of them and put them into the order in which I preferred them the most. I took their 2 most popular ones and put them at the end. So like Drive and Pardon Me are at, the end of the line.
You would.
Well, yeah, because I mean they're good. By all means, don't think that because they got airplay that I dislike them or something like that. But there are other songs I feel that are like better, more deserving to be brought up and mentioned on a platform kind of like this, I should say, rather than better suited for this platform. Out From Under is one of my favorite honorable mentions. I like the first line, and to resist is to piss in the wind. Anyone who does will end up smelling. Knowing this, why do I what is it? Knowing this, why do I defy what my inner voice is telling? Number 8 is Clean. Number 7 is When It Comes. Number 6, my last honorable mention is Nowhere Fast. And I believe that's the second song on the album. My number 5 is the first song on the album, which is Privilege. Number 4, it's a really ballady song. It's called I Miss You. I put it on my top 5 because I remember it made me think of a memory of being in like high school, and my best friend had his heart had been broken by this girl he was like super into. So he went and got like blackout wasted and passed out with the like lock on his door, engaged. And that song was on repeat, and he passed out and slept for like 12, 14 hours. So this one song is just on repeat as loud as possible for 14 hours. It wasn't until I reviewed this album that I could actually listen to that song because of how much I hated that song after that circumstance. Number 3 is Make Yourself. I like it because it's kind of like one of the lines is if I had have made me, I'd have fallen apart by now. If I had have made me, it's more than I can allow. Yeah. What is it? If you let them make you, they'll make you paper mache. At a distance, you're strong until the wind comes and you crumble and blow away. Number 2 is Consequences. That's just, it's heavy. It's good. if you actually listen to my whole album, Jeremy, you're gonna understand why this is my number one. And it is Battlestar Scratch Statica.
I know it.
but I'm only half playing. I there's this gimmick I do. If it's got like an intro or anything that has no words in it, I always usually put it at my number one. But this time I really do actually have a favorite song from the album. It's called Stellar. It's a great song. That's a kick-ass song.
It was good. See,
What do you like best?
the problem
about
I had
that?
was making my top 5 is it randomly went off the album and started playing other songs by Incubus. And
Oh, that's awful.
And I didn't realize it until like 4 songs in. Like at that point, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, how long is this album? And I like go back and look, and I'm like, the last song I remember playing is the 4th from the end. And it wasn't on shuffle though. That's the weird part. But so I mean, and it was only that album. I didn't search Incubus. Like I had that specific album pulled up, but so I don't know what the hell happened. But so if I have 2 honorable mentions for my top 5, and I apologize if any of these are not on that CD because I honestly never went back and checked to see if all these were on the CD or not. But
That's cool.
first honorable mention is "I Miss You," which actually I know that's on the CD because I had to go back, and that's the one I started with. Was the 3rd one from the bottom, which was "I Miss You," because that's the last one I remember not listening to. So, "I Miss You" and "Consequence" my honorable mentions because I like both those songs. "Out From
Good
Under"
stuff.
was my Out From Under was my number 5 because that's a damn good song.
It's a good song.
Number 4 is "Part of Me" because I did know that song somewhat. It's not the most popular on this album that I've heard, but it was a good song. Number 3 was "Make Yourself" because I relate to that in a way. I got that one I liked.
It's a good song.
Number 2 is "When It Comes."
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, I didn't even turn it into a dirty thing until right now. Like even when I first heard it, I was just like, "That's a good song." Like I can appreciate that, and the freaking guitar in that was amazing. And of course, number 1 is "Drive" because that's the one I've heard on the radio for the last 20 years, and it's always good. So
Yeah.
20, 22,
It was
23
on the
years
radio,
in.
huh?
Yeah, I got Pardon Me and Drive got huge radio play and music videos and stuff like that.
And they've been in a lot of movies.
Then.
They've been in a lot of movies too.
Yeah, they have been in a lot. They have those songs have been in a lot of movies as well.
Which I mean, that's a lot of Chance's music. It's like it's from the '90s. It's always like the stuff that, like he brought who'd you bring last week? I can't think of the name. Fat something.
Oh no, my album from last week. It was the Prodigies, "The Fat of the Land."
Yeah, that's it.
That came out in '97 and took over the VMAs in 1998. You actually might even remember this, Diana. There was a big stink because MTV released an uncensored music video about a first-person perspective on a night of total debauchery, and the name of the song is called, pardon my French, the name of the song is called "Smack My Bitch Up." And the thing that gets everybody up in a stir, though, is that it's a girl that's doing all of the crazy and the insane things that take place during the video. And then
a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, and I stayed up real late. I was a kid when that came out, and I stayed up real late so I could watch that on MTV2 because they were like, "We're not playing this until midnight, so we have to pay as little fine of as possible."
Like, what, were your parents asleep, or they let you listen to that?
No, they were. Well, I mean, it was a little bit of both.
Chancy was allowed to do all types of debauchery at young ages that most of us weren't allowed to do, like watch slasher horror movies and whatnot.
Oh yeah, my parents exposed me to the world at a very, very young age. Which I mean, they think. I mean, they're in some ways they're kind of regret it now, but I don't because. I mean, in a way they do because like I mean, I have a good sense of humor, but some could say I'm a bit fucked up.
I think we all are
that-
in some aspects, you know.
Everybody's fucked in their own way. That's the way I look at the
Yeah,
world. Is
and-
everybody's fucked in their own way, and those that aren't are the really fucked ones. So
Wow,
just
fuck
don't
me
admit
in
it.
my
They-
own way. A little bit of make yourself right there.
We've
You
all got
should.
our dark spots.
but
For sure. But, you know, I'm not in prison. I'm not on drugs. And, you know, I'm trying to make the world a better place. I think I turned out pretty good. Right, Chancy?
exactly. My mom used to give me shit all the time. Oh, you're such a stoner. Well, at least I don't do heroin or smoke crack. You want me to go do that instead? Like,
Those are
like,
hard.
pick your battles, Mom. Pick your battles. Like, I'm doing something that's legal in my state since 2016, and you're giving me shit for it? Like, really? Like, I don't get it. But
It's about perspective.
exactly. I mean, I provide for a family of 4 on my own, so I'm doing great. But I want to thank you, Diana, for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, and I got to make another person get into Nightwish. Yay.
Yes, my husband's going to listen to it too. And this has been super fun. It was just hanging out with you guys and talking about good music. I love discovering new music. There's, you know, never ending, I think. And I will listen tomorrow, Chancy, to your album, and I will send you notes on my review. How's that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what you think.
Well, Diana, why don't you tell them where they can find your podcast so that they can all go give it a listen?
Yeah, you can find everything about me, my music that I write on my website and my podcast. It's at dswministries.org. So that's the Wounds of the Faithful podcast. You can listen to that on any platform. That's for abuse survivors and how to heal. And my actual song that I wrote for healing was called "Break These Chains." So that's my story, and that's on my music page, along with other stuff like I told you I had a classical upper background, so you'll hear some of that stuff too. But yeah, love to have you guys listen, and thanks so much again for having me on the show.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Sir Chancellor, where can they find you in your multitude of places nowadays?
Well, they can find me here, of course. The Book of the Faces, the Insta of the Gram, the TikTok under the Red Eye Round Table, and my Twitter is Red Eye Table because apparently you're only allowed so many letters.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, working on putting together a little podcast, like a long form discussion podcast about interesting topics to be determined.
Yes, and Chancy and I also have a couple other shows that are in the works as well, possibly coming out in 2023. But you can find both of us on Facebook under the Paranormally Normal / Maniacal Music Musings podcast with the S Facebook group. You can find us on Twitter and the Gram at Juggalo Bastard. And you can find us on TikTok as Juggalo Bastard Podcast. And of course, you can find us on YouTube as Maniacal Music Musings. Just go ahead and search the name and it'll come up with all the episodes that we've released so far. I want to thank our guest, Diana, for coming on one more time because it's been amazing. And like Podmatch, not a sponsor, but could be. But seriously, you could be a sponsor of Podmatch. I love your website. I get so many good guests for both my shows on this. Alex Felipe, or whatever your name is, but Flippy, I think it is. Related to Blippy. Thank you, Diana. It's been a pleasure. And to our listeners, we will catch you next week. And next week, our guest will be Ashley Hoffman, co-host of 30, Flirty, and Not Thriving with our good friend Vanessa Rain. So Ashley will be on next week, listeners. We'll see you then.